I did go into nutrition because I dropped out of college from psychology, studied nutrition, and then worked with people
Wow.
for 10, 12 years in the field of nutrition before then studying somatic psychology.
Wow. Thank God you figured that out, that
Yeah,
it's
I'm so
connected.
grateful.
Because, I think a lot of people don't put it all together. I never, put nutrition, somatics, and psychology.
No,
They're all
no.
sort of their own little islands.
That's why I'm writing a book.
Oh, you're
Because
writing a book? Do tell.
so I'm writing a book. It's called Food Therapy. It's exactly
Ooh.
this. It's being published by Hay House, which is one of my favorite publishers, and that's in April 2026 that will come out. But it's about
Wow.
this very thing: is the how do we intersect and integrate somatic psychology, nutrition, and coaching, self-help? How does that all come together? Because every book I've read on, let's say, trauma or healing, which are brilliant, they never talk about food. They'll
Right.
say it maybe for a sentence or two, but they don't tell you what or how.
Right.
So my book really breaks down how certain foods literally contribute to the stress response and how other foods contribute to recovering from the stress response. So if you
Wow.
bring more of those other foods in to help you recover, it's literally like a therapist inside your body. You're getting all this resourcing just from what you're eating.
Are there any interesting, tidbits that you can share, with people that might surprise them?
Yeah, so we talk a lot about, well, I shouldn't say we talk a lot, but right now there's more of an understanding about glucose than there ever has been before, beyond the world of diabetics. Anyone who's been diabetic, they've been talking about glucose since they've been diagnosed, but now it's becoming like a mainstream term of blood glucose and glucose spikes. Because when you have a glucose spike, you have an insulin spike, and insulin creates a lot of issues in the body. The third part they don't talk about is after an insulin spike, then you have an adrenaline spike. So every time you eat a food, not even like a sweet food, but something that turns into glucose quickly, like a starch, like potatoes even, and you have that insulin spike in response to the massive glucose, you're going to then stimulate your adrenals, which turns on your stress response. So within 90 minutes of eating something comforting, even, you'll then have a subsequent stress response that can wake you up in the middle of the night, give you nightmares, can change your hormones, it literally create anxiety and panic just from what you're eating, not even what you're going through in life.
So you're going to trigger the flight or fight response just by
Exactly.
a piece of bread.
Literally.
Wow.
And then
Oh.
you can learn what's amazing about it is you don't have to stop eating bread. You learn how to eat bread.
Oh.
So if I just get
Thank you.
a slice,
I had a heart
you're
attack
welcome.
for a second.
So if you just take a piece of white bread, let's say, and you're just having that, and you're eating that with like a toast, a little butter on it,
Typical, yeah.
straight up, it's turning into sugar within 10, 15 minutes. White bread turns into sugar like that. So that's going to create the stress response. You can have the same piece of white bread and you can put almond butter on it, and you can eat it after you have vegetables or eat it after you eat beans, and you will not have the same spike. So you can eat the exact same food, you just have to shift what you're putting on it and when you're eating it, and that will reduce the spike, which will prevent the subsequent adrenaline response.
That's fantastic.
So you can still eat the foods you love, it's just teaching people how to eat them.
Wow, I can't wait to read this book.
I can't wait to finish writing it.
When we have stressors coming at us,
Yeah.
and we feel as though if we're watching TV or if we are listening to someone, we have to listen to, or we feel as though we're trapped in a situation.
Inescapable threat or inescapable attack. So it's that
Yes.
feeling of being trapped.
Yes.
And in the animal body, let's say an actual situation of danger, like let's say a car crash. I can't escape that. The car's coming at me, it's hitting my car. That's an inescapable attack. There's no getting out. So the body shuts down and goes into freeze. What's interesting about our bodies, even when we're not in danger, I can be watching the news. I can see horror playing out around the world. My body's going to perceive that as inescapable attack. It's going to think it's happening to me and there's nothing I can do about it. Just like you said, I'm speaking to someone, I'm stuck with someone, the body will start feeling that overwhelm as inescapable attack. So even though you're totally fine, your body perceives this as I'm trapped, and then you go into a freeze response, and then sometimes you can go into a collapse response, which is where you lose all energy. You sleep, you feel depressed, you feel unmotivated because your body's so filled with charge that's going nowhere.
Wow.
It's essentially what happens when you have all this charge to act and speak and move, but it gets repressed.
Wow. And so if we watch the news every night and we are just absorbing all that.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about some ways, but can you share some ways that we can fend that off?
Yeah, absolutely. So
protect ourselves.
Let's give the example for the individual that wants to watch the news, because some people will say I'm just going to stop, and they're fine with that. Other people need to know what's going on; they just want to, or the work they do, they're exposed to it.
Sure.
So it's a practice I call pendulation. It exists. It's a term that exists for what the nervous system naturally does when it modulates stress. It pendulates between stressor and resource. I teach pendulation as more of like, let's say like a coaching of the body. I'm letting my body, I'm noticing that I'm orienting to the news, let's say. I'm feeling the stress, and then I pendulate to where I am, and I feel the peace. So I'm discerning somatically via sensation. I'm discerning the difference between what I'm watching and where I actually am. And then you get this sense of cognitively, I know what I'm seeing and what's going on, but somatically, my body's not matching that environment. It's at peace here. So you can still be conscious and aware of things, but you're not matching it empathically and then getting exhausted.
So would that be considered like grounding or something like that, where you're
That's a
looking
great
at
way
something?
to put it. You're literally grounding yourself into the environment, but you're doing it sensationally.
Sensationally.
Yes.
So how would I do that?
So let's pretend right now we're watching something stressful. Like think right now of something you've seen that stressed you out, and tell me where the tension lives.
It's right here.
That's where I feel mine too. So your hand goes there. So that's where your body feels the thing you're seeing. Now look around this beautiful place we are, and tell me where you feel our environment here. And when you see a tree, a plant, like where do you feel
Beautiful. Yeah, I feel like everywhere. I feel good.
Right. Okay. Right there.
Yeah.
So you notice all these parts that feel really good. That's anchoring you into where you are. Then you're feeling that place that has that empathy, that
just
somatic response, and exactly. That's how you do it.
Powerful.
You just did it.
Wow, we did it.
And that's the way it just happened for you is the body pendulated. So I teach pendulation as, okay, we're consciously pendulating our attention between what I'm watching and where I am. And then the body does this inner pendulation where it releases the tension it's holding. Because it realizes it's safe. It's just witnessing something versus experiencing it.
When I'm stressed, I can't always think of something good to do, or I don't want to.
Yeah.
Whereas if, I don't know. Do you
one
think
thing I do a 7-week course virtually twice a year. And one thing I teach in week 3 is co-regulation. And this is one of the things I teach people where we go into the mind and we imagine the places, the things we do, the people we love that really settle us. And I have people make a list. And this is exactly why. Because it's one thing to cognitively say, I'm going to lay down and listen to music to relax. And another thing to physically feel, well, what music actually relaxes me?
Right.
Like, what posture actually softens me? What person or situation? Is it the bathtub? Is it being outside? Like, what actually grounds the body? And then make a list based on how the body shows you it settles. And then, yes, refer to that list when you feel activated. Oh, let me do that thing that settles me. And then your body starts, releasing some of that charge.
Beautiful. Yeah, because otherwise I would just pick up my phone and start scrolling.
That's what we do.
So,
that's right.
So having that list is a nice, concrete go-to, a safety net almost.
It is. As long as you make the list based on sensation.
Okay.
Not based on what you think it's going to be like, but actually how it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, love. I always love talking to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. From myself to yourself, thank you for joining me on this journey.